Coming to paperback and Kindle Unlimited, Isis, All That Glitters. The goddess next door takes on a bikini-clad bank robber in this action-packed, all-new Isis series adventure. Get Isis, All That Glitters in paperback and Kindle Unlimited this March. This week, I did a live stream pondering if Comicsgate really was about solutions. And after taking a critical examination of Comicsgate, I'm going to have to walk away from this movement because this movement is not about getting constructive solutions towards solving the problems in the comic book industry, nor is it about making efforts to really get quality comics in the hands of readers out there. Comicsgate has devolved into a situation where we have Comicsgaters who spend more time making videos attacking so-called SJW Comics Pros to get YouTube views and making next to no efforts to try to get quality comics in the hands of readers. And that's something that I do not want to be a part of as a publisher of an imprint that promotes positive images of African Americans, the African American experience, and promotes men's issues. I find all of the ways that many Comicsgaters behaving to be quite dysfunctional, and I really don't want to be a part of that toxic environment. And what has made me walk away from the Comicsgate movement is several actions I saw. Now, your Maya Angelou many years ago said that if somebody shows you the truth about themselves, believe them. And now that I have seen the truth about many Comicsgaters, I now believe these people do not want real solutions to improve the situations in the comic book industry. Instead, all they want to do is use the dysfunction in the comic book industry to get attention for themselves. And the first thing that I saw that was quite troubling to me and was a major red flag for me as related to Comicsgate was when Kwanzaa's White Kickstarter was launched. Now, your Kwanzaa is one of these pro-black, back to Africa, red, black, and green Negroes, and he has created a series of comics called Black and Black AF, which is about how these black people have superpowers. Now, these stories are of the poorest quality. I've spent time reading these comics myself, and they are really of poor quality. But what I found to be quite troubling on the Comicsgate side was several Comicsgaters made videos towards your Kwanzaa's new Project White, which was about a Donald Trump type character going out here and going after the so-called black heroes and them talking about backing this said project. And when they committed that action, they showed me something that proved to me that Comicsgate has lost its way. Because if you are about getting quality comics in the hands of readers and improving the comic book reading experience, then why are you talking about pledging money to a project that you know is going to be absolutely terrible? And why are you making multiple videos regarding said project? Those actions speak louder than any words many Comicsgaters make in their videos regarding how they are so concerned about the comic book industry. Because if you are truly concerned about this comic book industry, you would not be making a video towards your Kwanzaa's White, giving him more publicity, and you would not be out here spending your money on a book like Kwanzaa's White, giving this man more incentive to go out here and make more poor quality comics that are the thing that you say that you were against. You say you were against these so-called SJW comics, but then you go and spend money to back said SJW comic. And that shows a complete compromise in the mission of many Comicsgaters, and it shows that they have lost their way and their movement has lost their way, because if you say that these are the bad comics and these are the comics we should not support because of the quality of them, then why spend money on those comics? So that's one of the reasons why I'm walking away from your Comicsgate. The other one has to do with the Disney Corporation going out here to rehire James Gunn to direct Guardians of the Galaxy 3. And the response from many Comicsgaters also shows how they have lost their way as a movement, because when your James Gunn was announced to be returning to direct Guardians of the Galaxy 3, this is when many Comicsgaters decided they were going to be either give these waffling statements regarding your James Gunn or go out here and still try to make excuses to watch Marvel Cinematic Universe movies. Now, when it comes down to your James Gunn, my position remains consistent. And that consistent position is, if this man has made jokes about pedophilia and child rape, this man should not be working at your Marvel Studios, and it is completely unethical for your Kevin Feige and your Bob Iger to allow this man to remain working at Marvel Studios on any projects, because with this man making jokes about pedophilia and child rape, this is a man who is not appropriate to work for an organization like Marvel Studios or Disney, a company that has a mission dedicated towards producing family entertainment. And it looks really bad for the Disney Corporation to go out here and rehire a man like James Gunn, who made these tweets on Twitter that are hard evidence presented online of his inappropriate behavior and his egregious behavior as I see it, and to do this at a company that produces family entertainment for children and young adults. Because many of those children and young adults out here, what kind of message are we sending to them when we give your James Gunn a complete pass for participating in making these, as I see it, sick and disturbing tweets? And what type of message are we sending to kids when we make the standard that, oh, James Gunn can get a pass for making these inappropriate tweets on Twitter, but men like your R. Kelly and your Bill Cosby and your Michael Jackson, we want to have a standard where we want to censor those men's content, all based on allegations of sexual assault or sexual abuse, or in the case of, or like in Michael Jackson's case, alleged child molestation, which was proven not to have happened by your FBI and the Los Angeles prosecutor's office years ago. People are talking about they want to mute Michael Jackson. They're talking about how they want to mute R. Kelly over a Lifetime documentary, which was actually a disguised hit piece to malign this man. Even though he is a sexual deviant, this man is entitled to a due process under the law, under the courts of the United States Constitution. Everybody wants to go out here and try to censor your R. Kelly. They want to censor your Michael Jackson. They want to censor your Bill Cosby. But everybody wants to give your James Gunn a complete pass for behavior that is documented in evidence on social media and presented on multiple websites, which shows this man's inappropriate tweets. And when I look at your James Gunn's actions, they show me again how deeply troubled this man is. And what's even more troubling is how many Comicsgaters want to give your James Gunn a pass, all because they want to see their favorite superheroes in the next movie. And they want to be able to have this clean conscience to be able to go see that next Guardians movie. And this is the covert contract they want to make, where they give James Gunn a pass and they can go see the next MCU movie. And I see that as a form of sickness, because only a really sick and depraved person would give a man like a James Gunn a complete pass for his behavior, all because they want to see their favorite superheroes on the silver screen. As I see it, there's many directors out there and many directors who could make this film. And as we saw in this case of the Michael Bay Transformers, another director came in and directed Bumblebee and did an amazing job. So it's possible to get another director and keep the little integrity that the Disney Corporation has and Marvel Studios has. But your Kevin Feige and your Bob Iger, they refuse to go out here and have the integrity to stand on their platform and stand for the mission of both Marvel Studios, the Disney Corporation, and the source material of Marvel Comics, which is supposed to be about promoting superheroes, people who are supposed to go to extraordinary lengths to protect people and do what is right. So I don't see where your comic skaters are doing what's right, trying to give your James Gunn a pass, nor do I see where they're doing what's right by going out here to support Kwanzaa, a man who they say they're so against. You're going to put money towards his project, and that was the thing that was most troubling to me. You make videos towards this project, you promote this project, and again, that runs counter to your very narrative and your very mission. Now, the third thing that I found to be quite troubling from one of these comic skaters was they decided to pledge to my ISIS Indiegogo graphic novel Indiegogo, and then after I made my video denouncing James Gunn, they decided to retract their pledge. And I found that to be quite troubling, because my criticism of James Gunn and white people, it was not a generalization as they thought, because it was a valid argument. Because if you have a white man in Kevin Feige, if you have a white man in Bob Iger giving this a pass, and then you have comic fans in Comicsgate giving this a pass, how is that a generalization? Because when I look at the actions, they speak louder than their words. And again, the retraction of that pledge also shows me that there was no commitment towards getting better comics out there. Now, when I did the ISIS All That Glitters Indiegogo, it was towards improving the quality of getting comics out there that featured heroines, and to give people a model of what a heroine would look like in a quality story. Because many of these comic skaters, they often made videos complaining about the quality of comics featuring characters like your Kamala Khan, Ms. Marvel, your Squirrel Girl, your America Chavez, your Unstoppable Wasp, and your Captain Marvel. And when I did this graphic novel Indiegogo, it was to provide a solution to the problem and to create a story that could show everyone that it is possible to create a story featuring a strong heroine and make that story compelling. Because the feedback I got on the All That Glitters script was extremely positive from many casual readers, many comic fans, and many fantasy fans out there. And this is why I decided to go with that script, because I thought there would be an audience for it, and I thought that your comic skaters would get behind this project, because this project was providing a solution to a problem they said they had with many of what they called SJW comics. Now, you say that these SJW comics are not featuring a quality story with a heroine, and here is a professional author of over 60 books and has over 20 years of experience writing a comic featuring a heroine, and the people there are not even talking about it or making efforts to promote it. And again, that shows how your Comicsgate has lost its way. Because here is, again, a professional writer, myself, who has written numerous books featuring heroines in young adult, fantasy, and women's fiction, and has gotten accolades from the general public for writing in those genres of young adult, women's fiction, and even romance. And I'm coming here to, again, and fantasy as well, to give you a story from my own successful ISIS series and show you again what a model for a heroine would be like and how this model can work well in the comic medium. And all because I make a video criticizing your James Gunn and make a so-called generalization about white people. This one person wants to retract their pledge, and others who I have contacted do not even want to respond. And again, showing me that this is not about solutions. It is just about continuing to let the problem go on. And this is what I've seen with Comicsgate. It has become a very toxic environment. It's become about codependency. And instead of people working towards helping indie comic pros and indie writers like myself get projects funded, it has become about a back and forth between your so-called comics, SJW comics pros, and your comic skaters, where they continue to engage in an extremely dysfunctional back and forth with each other. And that's not a constructive discourse as I see it, because those who want solutions want to move forward. And as I see it, we've had these issues with comics since 2017. We've had many comic shops go and confront Marvel Comics regarding the quality of their books. And instead of us getting a solution, we got a passive-aggressive reaction from Marvel, where, yes, they brought back many of the characters, but they continued to push the same narrative in their comics, and that quality continues to decline in those comics, because even these days, many of these comics can't even stay consistent in terms of pencils. They can't stay consistent in terms of story, and the quality continues to decline. And I believe the situation is deteriorating because on both sides, no one wants solutions. All they want to do is keep the problem going, because this is the way both sides get attention. And that is a codependent way of living. It's a toxic way of living, because codependent people, the reason why they keep going back and forth with each other primarily has to do with the fact that they continue to need the problem in order to continue getting attention for themselves. Because this is why the alcoholic never goes to AA, this is why the addict never goes to rehab, and this is why the comic skater doesn't go out here and support quality comics or efforts to get quality comics to the marketplace, because many of them want to get more YouTube views for their channel. They want to get attention for themselves, and that runs counter to their mission overall. As a publisher and a man who loves comics, I want to see quality comic books get into the hands of readers, and I want to see the overall industry return to a level of quality that allows it to become sustainable again, not only for your local comic shop, where many specialized and independent titles will be sold, but also to see the overall market return to a level of quality where we can get books in the hands of people who aren't comic fans, and children who want to see new characters, and children who want to see old-time characters once again in places like retail. And that's what my drive is for being a part of the comic book business, and one of the reasons why I wanted to publish the first ISIS graphic novel, on the SJS Direct imprint. I wanted to be able to use this funding from this graphic novel to explore a new distribution model after I got the rewards sent out, where I would take the file and then put it on a platform like your CreateSpace, or now known as KDP Publishers, or Lightning Source, and get that book distributed on print-on-demand platforms so that we can have a business model that will allow people to see what the future of comics will be. Because under the current model, which many comic skaters complain, they complain about over shipping and no real indicator to where sales are going. Well, on print-on-demand, on Amazon's KDP, and on Lightning Source and Ingram Spark and Smashwords and the iBookstore, there are real-time counters that let you know what a book is selling and what lets you know how many of a book are being returned. I have used those indicators over the last 10 years on the SJS Direct imprint, and I have used those indicators to go out here and decide what books I will make in an annual catalog that is run semi-annually, and I have used those indicators to let me know what books I need to push and promote on the regular. And I use those indicators to build my publishing imprint, and I believed that the comic book industry could have used those indicators to build their business. But as I see it right now, as it relates to Comicsgate and many parts of the comic book industry, no one really wants solutions. And if people are not about solutions, then I don't have time for them, because my time is too precious to waste on codependent and toxic individuals who do not want solutions and only want to use the problem to promote themselves, not understanding that when you use a problem to promote yourself, all you're doing is making yourself fall further, deeper into an abyss. And I've seen this happen in places where I used to work, because I used to work in job readiness back in the early 2000s with the hardest to place individuals like ex-offenders, like single mothers, like the homeless, like former drug addicts in recovery, and I see the same toxic and dysfunctional behaviors that the participants of the Strive Job Readiness Program participated in when they first came to our workshop. I see many comic skaters participating in the same toxic behaviors right now. And as a person who wants to see people become empowered, I don't want to be around these types of people, because their negative energy, it sucks all the life and heart out of you. It sucks all the passion out of you. And as a publisher, my mission, again, is about creating positive stories about the African American experience, diversifying the African American book market, and exploring men's issues and helping men empower themselves with books like the Stop Simping books, the Man Crisis, and books like your Why 70% of Black Women Are Single. I want to see people get the information in any book I produce and use it to improve the quality of their lives or change their perception of life. And that's my mission, and I want to stay integral to the mission of SJS Direct, and I want to stay integral to what I set out to do way back when I was 17 years old, and I established what I wanted to do when I wanted to be a writer. Now, when I was 9 years old, I always wanted to publish a comic book. That was one of my lifelong dreams. And when I look at the whole state of the industry, I don't know if I will ever be able to do that, because when I look at the whole toxic environment, I don't think I can find an audience in that in today's comic book industry, in between the so-called SJW comics pros or these comic skaters who talk about the problem, but never take any constructive action towards the solution. And this is why I'm walking away from your Comicscape, and I'm looking to move forward, because as a man who is focused on solutions, I want to focus on solving one problem so I can start moving further forward in my life, because with each problem you solve, the further you move forward, and the closer you get towards actualizing your potential and becoming the best person God wants you to be. Now, I'm still running the ISIS graphic novel Indiegogo, and I'm still trying to get pledges for that Indiegogo. So if you want to support it, you can click the link in the description box. And if you want to try some of my other SJS Direct publications, like the ISIS series, the E-Steam series, the John Haynes series, The Temptation of John Haynes, and the Spinsterella trilogy, or my men's issues books like The Man Crisis, you may do so by clicking the link to Amazon.com. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe. Now available in paperback and Kindle Unlimited, E-Steam: The Sands of Time. It's action and adventure in ancient Egypt in this terrific teen time travel romance. Get your copy of E-Steam: The Sands of Time at your favorite online bookseller today.